Hi there, I'm Beth. Happy Halloween and welcome to my channel. I have a special collaborative video today. Together with my friends Marna from Dolls Rescued, Jay from J Dolls UK and Peacecraft Dolls with Tammy Powley. We're each going to make a Wednesday Addams Blythe doll because we're so excited about the new Netflix show about her. As we began planning for this collab way back in August 2021, I ordered my first of these very cheap Blythe doll fakes from AliExpress. She was only about £3.99 and I figured she could stay as Wednesday once she was customised. I don't usually keep my Blythes in the same outfit for long. I initially put her in a witch's dress I made a while back and was pondering how to get rid of her fringe, since Wednesday doesn't have one. I dismantled the doll, taking note of the differences between these very cheap dolls and the ones I usually buy. The body's very light and flimsy with a hollow torso and bend and click rubbery legs. The scalp just lifts out and isn't secured with screws, but the eye mech looks to be the same. I can remove that easily and check inside the faceplate too. Her eyelashes are very flimsy looking and I don't really like the pale eye chips, but I plan to change these anyway. I have the parts I need to start customising and I hope you'll stick around to the end as I'll be making a full outfit, shoes and accessories for her too. I began by sanding down the faceplates and eyelids with a fine 400 grit sandpaper. I'm using wet and dry sandpaper and can spray with water to minimise dust going everywhere. I am also wearing a mask. I'm wearing gloves to avoid irritating my eczema. It was pretty bad last year, but thankfully has almost fully cleared up now. Once everything's sanded and rinsed in soapy water, I begin sketching a rough shape to follow before I start carving. I use a pin vise or hand drill to define the nostrils first, then use some simple hand carving tools for wood to shape the nose.
Socks ever look better. I don't think these socks could have ever envisioned in their wildest dreams that they could look this way.
Using this curved blade, I begin to shape the mouth. Next, I get out my electric rotary tool and use grinding bits to further define the shapes. Check out the FAQ page on my website, bethramsden.com, if you have any questions about customizing and tools. I use a melamine sponge or magic eraser to periodically clean the debris and check the face. I always come back to using my simple scalpel blade when carving. You could carve a whole face using just this if you chose to. I check my progress and am happy with her downturned mouth. Just needs a couple last touches and a really good sanding. Here's a comparison with the original faceplate. Now, I'll spray a base coat of Mr. Colour UV Cut. It's essentially Mr. Super Clear, but for the airbrush. I dilute it with Mr. Colour Thinner. This stuff is super stinky and toxic, so wear a proper mask when you're using it. Once dried, I begin to blush the face using chalk pastels and soft makeup brushes. Once I can't build up the colour anymore, I spray another coat of sealant. Let it dry, then continue. To lay out the eyebrows, I brush on pastel, then use a putty eraser to remove and refine the edges. I use watercolour pencils to draw detail into the eyebrows. I also use these to sharpen the lips and darken the outline. I grab my acrylic paints and start planning what to paint on the back of her faceplate. I often see really elaborate paintings on these, so I want to try my hand at something more complex than my usual. I sketch out my design first with Wednesday's name and all her usual iconic paraphernalia. I build up layer after layer until I'm satisfied with the painting. I also decided to paint her eyelids and added some bats for fun. Mustn't forget to gloss her lips. Up next are some custom eye chips. Marna had mentioned before that these super cheap eye chips are hard to remove, but I hadn't realised quite how hard. I used the rotary tool to gouge them out. Just 2 sets, that's all I can bear to do. I painted directly onto the back of some blank chips, just purple and black with a couple tiny skulls. I tested them out and they look super cute. Next, I glue in her new eyelashes, and that's the face done, I think. Here she is with her hair and her back plate too. I usually stick to pull rings, but instead added some skull beads and tied a little noose to her cords. I'm delighted with her so far. What do you think? We have more to come yet, but I do hope that once you've finished watching, you'll check out all my friends' Wednesday videos too. Their links will be in the description. Alright, I decided not to cut or reroute her hair and instead figured I could put gel in her hair to hide the fringe that I don't need. So that's what I did. I've pleated her hair and am now painting in a little widow's peak to give her hairline more shape. It came out pretty cute, I think. This is when the first trailer for the show came out. She has a fringe? We had all planned for a classic style Wednesday and now wanted to restyle our dolls. Oh, well, before I did that, I wanted to try to recreate that awesome dress she wore in the teaser. I used my shirt dress pattern with altered sleeves, cuffs and collar. I looked closely at the pattern on her dress and thought I could hand draw that onto fabric using paint pens. It's a simple pattern that just needed precision and repetition. I like that it looks like a skull and crossbones. I could then set about assembling her dress. For the front closure, I hand-stitched lots of tiny seed beads. I just love how the long collar and cuffs came out. Wednesday got a quick manicure before getting dressed, and some black stockings too. I wanted to include Antoinette, Wednesday's doll, who is usually headless and wears the same outfit as Wednesday does. Isn't she precious? To complete Wednesday's outfit, she gets some custom-made Warbler thermoplastic shoes. I took their design from another trailer that came out later, showing more clips from the show. Here they are painted black and varnished. And here's my original Wednesday Addams. I wanted to get a few shots of her before I went back and altered her hair. I was thankful for this easily removed scalp again and prepared to give her hair a quick wash. The gel washed out easily and I styled her fringe just like Jenna Ortega in the new show. What do you think of her final look? As I edit this, the show hasn't come out yet, but I'm excited to see it. Please do check out Marna, Jay and Tammy to see their Wednesday customs too. Leave us each a like and a comment if you've enjoyed our videos, and consider subscribing if you haven't yet. Those are great ways to support the work we all do, and we really appreciate you all coming to watch. Thanks so much. Stick around to the end and I'll see you again soon. Bye!